Shine bright up all night. We're never slowing down.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Midnight Tech. Today we're going to review the iPhone 8. Is it still relevant in 2021? So I have here a used iPhone 8. So you can get this on the second-hand market, and I got this for below 180 USD. So about 700, over 700 ringgit Malaysia. And it even comes with a total box set. Of course, this is a clone box. It's not the original, but looks pretty close to the real thing. So typically, if this was the original packaging, it would be similar to this, but obviously you would get some Apple stickers. It comes with a power charger as well as earbuds and a lightning cable. To put that aside, what really concerns would be the device itself. iPhone 8 was released in 2017 alongside the iPhone 8 Plus, and around September 2017. And this is pretty much the same design or the same body. Started with the iPhone 6, the 6S, the 7, and then the 8, right? So 4 generations of pretty much the same design, and it's a really nice design. First and foremost, it's one of the nicest iPhones to hold in your hand. It's a very thin phone. So this is the product rate version. The nice thing about the iPhone 8 is that for the product rate version and the space gray one, you'll be getting these black bezels, right? And the Touch ID here. This is Gorilla Glass at the front and back with an aluminium frame. Okay. So it does have IP67 dust and water resistance. And in terms of display, this is a very nice LCD display, and this is 625 nits. Yeah, so more or less with the current recent iPhone SE, which is a new one which was released last year in April 2020, where they pretty much use the same kind of body, but putting in a newer Apple A13 Bionic chip inside. But pretty much the body and the specs stay the same. The screen is actually the same. The resolution on the screen is exactly the same screen. It's exactly the same screen, the same body, the same glass front and back, and the same IP67 dust and water resistance. So you're actually getting more or less the same phone, and you're paying close to 2,000 ringgit for that one. So in the light of the current pandemic, I always prefer to have that Touch ID, right? So that's a welcome thing here. You have Touch ID as the method for authentication, right? As opposed to Face ID. So I'm just hoping that the newer iPhones will at least, have a Touch ID at the side button like the current iPad Air. In terms of camera module, it's got the same 12 megapixel shooter as the current iPhone SE, right? And it's got a quad LED dual tone flash right here, right? It supports HDR shots, 4K shooting at 30 or 60 frames per second, and Apple's very good with video. Yeah, and a selfie camera of 7 megapixels. So the camera is almost identical with the current iPhone SE as well. So you're actually getting the same kind of camera, same kind of display, same kind of body. So apart from the performance, if you wanted to save your dollars, you can give this a go. You can try going with the iPhone 8 as opposed to buying a brand new iPhone SE. So again, very cheap price on the second-hand market. And is it usable? Very much so. Powered by an Apple A11 Bionic chip. So it's got a 3-core graphics performance compared to a 4-core GPU performance in the current iPhone SE. Firstly, if you're looking for something to give you a chance to enter or use the Apple ecosystem, this could be a good entry point. Here I've downloaded some games and applications. So you can see how fast they load. These are newer games on the Apple Arcade. So the cool thing about Apple recently is the Apple Arcade actually has some very good games. You would see some very popular games which are available on console platforms like NBA 2K21. Things like typically you'd be paying for this on a Nintendo Switch or a PS4. You've got Sonic Racing. You've got things like The Partless. Sayonara Wild Hearts is also available on the PlayStation 4, for example. So you're getting some really quality games on the Apple platform. As you can see, as I swap between programs, the iPhone 8 is very snappy, and it handles social media and YouTube very well. So you can see a very snappy performance, very little lag. So media consumption is quite interesting on a device like this, a 4.7-inch screen. So the nice thing is that these black bezels actually give you a ability to actually rest your fingers. But it's a very small screen, so it's just nice to carry around, and it's so pocketable, right? But if you really want an awesome experience for media consumption, this will not be it. So this gets you by, right? So I've got Disney Hotstar here. So this is how scrolling feels.
Oh boy, you guys don't have any clue, do you?
So the screen has a maximum of 625 nits. So the screen is a very clear screen. It's also a small screen, so this is kind of nice. You just pocket around and just to watch your videos and stuff like that. So the other good point about the Apple ecosystem is Apple TV has some pretty good programs recently. So who is this phone for? First and foremost, it's a small display. We're not sure, it could be a plus or a minus depending what you like. I personally like to have this as like a secondary device, or I wouldn't even mind pocketing a small phone. With phones getting so large nowadays, right? Typically you have your Android phone, which is about this size, yeah, which is so chunky. It's so refreshing to carry something like this in your pocket. Yeah. So the other thing I forgot to mention, this supports wireless charging as well. Yeah, with this glass back. So that's a nice. So this is a modern phone. It's not so modern in its bezels. It's got very nice thin bezels and very nice thin design, but you've got that big chunky bezels on top and bottom. But it's not just like how the notch kind of like when you start using a phone which has a small even an Android phone like this which has a punch hole, or even an iPhone with a notch, you somehow once you consume media and use it, you somehow just not pay attention to it at all. So the same like when you start using, even with the chunky bezel on the top and bottom, it's not really a problem. But who is this phone for? The shortcomings of the iPhone 8, for one, is that the battery life. It's just with a phone this thin and packing a small battery, it's not going to give you a lot of mileage in terms of battery usage. So you can see I'm down to 7%. And this has been used, this phone has been used for almost 5 hours today, which is pretty good. It's pretty good for a phone this size and there's some gaming time involved, right? 20 minutes of Call of Duty, and there's some, yeah. So you can get about 5 hours plus of usage. If you play, if you don't even play games, you could probably drag it to close to 5.5 or 6 hours. So it's not too bad for a phone this small. But if you really are going to use your phone heavily, if you are a gamer, the batteries will probably only give you very limited game time. You're probably going to get just an hour plus of heavy duty gaming. Light gaming, maybe you can stretch 2 hours. So if you are a gamer, I don't think this phone is for you unless you don't mind the in-between charges. Call of Duty mobile running on on pretty much maximum graphics. So yes, it can play games, but the battery will not take you to many hours of gaming. So I think if you're a gamer, this phone might you might give it a miss, or go for the plus models, or the iPhones with the bigger batteries, right? So if you're just a casual user, you just need a phone for messaging or social media and taking some pictures, yeah, this phone is okay. 700 ringgit, so below 200 USD, gets you a usable phone with wireless charging. You know, it's very easy to use in the pandemic time. It's very pocketable. I love this phone, and the product rate one is really nice. So it's still a very usable phone. If you're looking for to use an iPhone and you like this kind of size with its limitations, I really recommend the iPhone 8 for you for its lower price point. But if you can stretch your dollar a bit more, you might want to go for the 8 Plus, bigger battery and a bigger screen, yeah, and will be much better for media consumption. So I hope this video is useful for you. So this is D Josh with the review of the iPhone 8 in 2021.